What's up, everyone?
Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show. I appreciate you guys so much. Honestly, it means so much to me that I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to anyone else. I'm not talking to the person behind you. I'm literally talking to you. I appreciate you for tuning into the Derek O'Shea Show. It means so much to me that you take time out of your day just to listen to me ramble and my thoughts. And because the good Lord knows I have no idea what I'm going to say before I say it sometimes. And I think some of you enjoy that, and some of you probably hate that. And but that's part of being human. Some people are gonna hate you, and some people are gonna love you. There's like this weird campaign. It's like, I just want everyone to get along. I want everyone to love me, and no one to talk crap about me. No one to say anything negative about me, because I'm a good person. Okay, but just a rule of thumb in life: there will be people that are just a-holes, and that's just how it's gonna be. But COVID-19, speaking of a-holes, COVID-19, for the OG fans out there, some of you might not know, COVID-19 is not going away. They won't let it go away. They don't want it to go away, even though we have therapeutics, we have vaccinations, things you're not allowed to talk about. You're only allowed to speak positive about it. And at the same time, there's new lockdowns being enforced in other countries and forced vaccinations in places like France, who we get liberty from. And I'm tired of talking about it. I don't know about you. I'm ready to move on, grow up. The flu is still around, and the flu kills lots of people. Heart disease definitely takes its toll. And the sugar industry, shut your freaking mouth. Don't you dare talk about my sugar intake. Those things kill lots of people, but no one's still talking about. We got to shut down a whole country because one person died in Australia. But it's not going away. And people on the left side and the liberal side of the media are really ramping up this COVID talk as, countless story after story in Tokyo as athletes are getting COVID. There's never been any reporting of any symptoms or what's going on, just that they tested positive. I get so tired of this whole, okay, so what? You tested positive, and what? Are you sick? Do you have symptoms? Are you in the hospital? Do we need to worry about you? Or do you just, I get the cold every once in a while. I have allergies. I don't go online and, maybe I should, go online and tell people, hey, I just want everyone to know I have the cold today. It's been reported Derek O'Shea has the cold. No symptoms are reported. We don't know if he's doing okay or not, but hey, he's got the cold and you need to know it. But we're going to go through a couple of things in the news. MSNBC, their top story: Fox News COVID vaccine denials can't go unpunished. And for some of you that tuned in to my new state media program that I'm running on Instagram and on YouTube, hope you guys follow me on there. And I'm also on TikTok. I'm putting it on TikTok. It's just a quick 2-minute segment of me reading the news as if it's a state media run by the government. But I put this on. But this is their top story. They filed a claim with the what does it say? I love the start of this paragraph. Typically, when Fox News spews lies or misinformation on political issues, my response is a mixed fact-checking and eye rolls. God. But the current misinformation campaign about COVID-19 vaccine, which I don't know if they watched, Sean Hannity the other night went on about why vaccines are good and why he took it, why he thinks everyone should, and people are just like, oh my God, frickin' Sean Hannity. I even put out a tweet about Sean Hannity, like, I'm so glad that Sean Hannity had the courage to come out and say that he had vaccines. Now I might consider taking it due to Sean Hannity having the courage. And people are like, oh my God, are you serious? No, I'm not serious. I don't care what anyone says. It's not my doctor about vaccines. God, it's like going to your neighbor, like, I'm sorry, how do you sleep at night? Well, I'm getting a nice dose of ZMA. It's really working for me. And I'm like, well, I'm going to take my neighbor's advice because I trust him. But the current misinformation campaign about COVID-19 vaccine from some of Fox News' most popular hosts demands more than a typical response given lives are on the line. That's why I filed a complaint with the... liberals, you guys are... You guys remind me of a grumpy old man or old lady on the edge of their lawn just yelling at the neighbor, "Hey, that is against HOA rules. You need to be taken down. I'm not kidding. This needs to get out of here. Your car is parked illegally on my side of the street. It should be on that side of the street." But the MSNBC article goes on. That's why I filed a complaint this week with the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, against Fox News for possible violations of COVID Consumer Protection Act. That law, it's like, I'm filing a lawsuit against I'm telling the FTC about what's going on, and they're gonna take me serious because I am a serious person. And then we have the ATF, our boy David Chipman. No conspiracy about him anywhere. Comes out and labels people, especially new gun owners, as essentially tiger kings. Let's let him speak.
And so in their mind, they might be confident. They might think that they're diehard, ready to go. But unfortunately, they're more like Tiger King. And
half of Australians in lockdown, and they're angry. And they have every right to be angry. Anger grows as Australia has 13 million people, but half the population endure fresh lockdowns. There's new lockdowns going on around the world. I know you are tired of talking about COVID, but they're not done. As we have Nika Brzezinski speaking with Bill de Blasio about forcing healthcare workers to be vaccinated. Forcing. And you need to listen to the way they describe this, because it should be eye-opening and jaw-dropping.
Increase the vaccination rate. New York City will now be requiring all healthcare workers at city hospitals to be vaccinated or get tested on a weekly basis. And New York City Mayor Bill de...
That's right. If you're not vaccinated, they will pressure you by forcing you to constantly get tested over and over again.
Blasio joins us now. I guess my first question is, you were hesitant to do this in the past. What changed?
Mika, we're watching the Delta variant and the impact it's having, and it's time for a change. It's time for a new approach. I'm proud of the fact.
It's time for a change. It's time for a new approach.
In New York City, 9.7 million vaccinations have been given. That's about 58% of our population has gotten at least one dose. That's really good. And there are still people, 10, 20,000 every day coming in and getting vaccinated. So the vaccination effort is going to continue deeply. But the difference is the Delta variant. It's virulent. It's strong. It's making an impact. So it's time to do something different. What we're doing is mandating for the folks who work in our public hospitals and clinics. They need to be safe. The people they serve need to be safe.
It's for your safety. Bill de Blasio knows what's good for you, okay? So shut up and take the shot.
Safe. So we're saying get vaccinated or get tested once every week. It's a fair choice. I think what's going to happen, Mika, is a lot of folks are going to say, okay, now it's time to get vaccinated. A lot of folks have been ready. We know this. A lot of folks have been, hesitant, but still ready. And now it's going to be that.
Look, these people look at what's going on in France and they envy that. They want that kind of authoritarianism. They want that kind of authority. They want that strength of, no, you are going to get vaccinated and we're going to shut down again.
That moment, or after they get tested for a while, they might say, you know what, it might be just easier to go and get vaccinated.
Not sure if I'm nitpicking here, but why not just get vaccinated or don't come to work?
There it is.
Because if you
See, I told you, they want that.
Get tested every week, you risk exposing people if you test positive.
Look, we want to keep moving this in phases as much as possible.
Do you see her smile? She's like, I know you like what I just said. I set you up perfect.
Getting more and more people acclimated to vaccination. There's been so much misinformation. I mean, this is the underlying reality. Unlike
here we
any
go.
time in our history.
Well, yeah, don't bring up Joe Biden or Kamala Harris both saying that they're not going to get the vaccine because Trump produced it. Don't bring up that kind of misinformation. Please, God, don't.
Before, and this angers me. People have been lied to consistently.
Yeah, by you.
You know, when we were growing up, if you said you had to get a vaccination to go to school, no one would have blinked. And a lot of lives were saved. So the notion now that people, for their own political aims, are spreading misinformation. And too many people are believing it in an era where there's so much pain and distrust.
There's this false narrative going around. It's the political affiliation, and they're blaming Trump supporters, which is funny to me. But you know which population is the least vaccinated in America? It's African Americans. It's the blacks. They're in the 20th percentile. And they're historically not Republicans and not Trump supporters. So, but they don't want to tell you that. They don't want to have an actual, and this is why people don't trust you. It's because you don't put out actual facts. You just have this political push, and they're like, I'm just so, I wish that COVID-19 wasn't so political. You made it political because you don't tell people real information and tell people real facts. People don't trust you. People don't trust the government. People don't trust the media. Why do you think the media's numbers are constantly slipping? It's because people don't trust you. It has nothing to do with them being a Trump supporter or a white supremacist or whatever crap you want to make up in your head. It has nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with how you have led from the top down. How you have led the people around you. How you have conveyed information. Been honest. Talked openly. It's all on you. That's the problem with being a leader. The buck stops with you. You can blame your coworkers all you want, but ultimately it goes down to how you lead.
Trust out there. This is what we have to fight back. So we've done voluntary to a fare thee well, 9.7 million doses. We've given amazing incentives. You know, you could have gotten vaccinated under the blue whale at the Museum of Natural History. You name it. We came up with every bell and whistle, and that's been great.
Incredible. You could have got vaccinated underneath a blue whale. They thought of literally everything they could think of. I remember that video of him getting free fries from Shake Shack. They've thought of everything they could think of. I'll help you out. Just be honest with the numbers. What's in it? Side effects. How many people have actually reported side effects? You know, be honest about that stuff, and maybe people will consider it. But until you do, they won't. Until you go down to what France is doing, forced vaccinations. Ooh, daddy, I like it. God.
But it's time for something more focused. It's time to say, okay, starting with our healthcare workers, here's a very fair choice. And again, I think it will move a lot of people to get vaccinated and others over time. But at minimum, we will be sending a message constantly. It's time, it's time, it's time. And we'll have a good sense if there is any problem we have to address.
I'm sorry. Who's the fascist president? It's Donald Trump, right? Right, media? Okay, yeah.
Mayor de Blasio, good morning. As you know well, Los Angeles County put back into effect a mask mandate indoors regardless of vaccination status. That was seen as a big step back when things had been moving in the right direction. How close are you in New York City to implementing something similar?
We're not there now, Willie. It's a good question, but I'll tell you, I mean, overall in the city, I'm very pleased to say our hospitalization rate remains very low.
Okay, great. So this is being pushed right now, and you're seeing this pushed more and more and more. But again, I don't know how many times I need to continue to say this to them, politicians, people in leadership. The reason people aren't getting vaccinated is not because they're a Trump-supporting white supremacist, QAnon. It's not. It's because... And that might be some. All right, I'll give you that. It might be like a 0.000.1%. The real reason is because you guys aren't being honest. You're not being truthful because this is what happens. You might say, Derek, well, how do you know they're not being truthful? It's because those of us that wake up in the mornings every day and have a podcast, do a show, or maybe a viewer like yourself that you listen to people like me, you consume the news, you read the news, you look up information, and you have seen how the information has changed over and over again how YouTube's rules about how you talk about COVID has changed. Twitter's rules has changed. They've constantly flipped-flopped. And then they pretend like they've never flip-flopped whatsoever, or never spread any kind of misinformation whatsoever, ever. We're on the right side of history. You're on the wrong side of history. Blah, 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 blah. It's your fault. You guys haven't been honest. You haven't been truthful. And you continue to be that way. And you don't care. This is the problem. Is that you guys don't even care. And you don't even... And I think your purpose of why... an honest person would look at what you're doing and say, you know what? You're not being honest. You should probably be honest. See, I think they're smarter than that. I think they know they're not being honest. And they know that you won't get vaccinated. But this is just another push for the government to create a problem, to create hysteria, and so that they can have more power and they can get a new law, they can get new rules in order for them to grow in strength. Once the government takes your rights and freedoms, they don't give it back. It doesn't happen in history. I don't know what you're going to do when the time comes when they have forced vaccinations. I don't know if it's going to happen, but every obvious person listening to the news, reading the news, and seeing what liberals want, and they're the ones in power, so you can only assume that this is coming. It's like, they like to constantly talk about a problem before they actually push stuff a lot. So that it creates this hysteria and creates a narrative in your mind for you to think about over and over again. So when it's finally pushed, you're like, okay, I guess I submit. You're the ones in power. But this is what's happening. So pay attention, because COVID-19 isn't done. Even though there's vaccinations, even though there's, therapeutics that are awesome. And then also that, these doctors and nurses are understanding how to better take care of these kind of patients when they're actually sick. That stuff is not reported. I swear to God, if MSNBC, CNN did a whole section of great therapeutics that are being used for COVID-19, there would probably be more people out there that would take the vaccine. But you're not talking about it. You're not. Talk about it. But you don't want to. You'd rather create division and hysteria. Because with division and hysteria, you remain in power. I wish people would wake up to that. I don't understand why people don't see that. And it goes on both sides. I get it on both sides. I mean, if I say something wrong, some conservatives, libertarians, or Trump supporters or something like lose their mind on me. And if I say something to the other side, it goes the other way. We're in such crazy tribal factions that I don't know what's going to happen in this country in 5 to 10 years, but it's something. No one knows how to talk to people anymore, and that I think that's what makes me sad. I think we didn't learn that enough in school of how to resolve problems instead of just running to our mommies. Have a fantastic day, everyone.